Hunter's Best Friend at School by Laura Malone Elliott. The illustrations are by Lynn, Munsinger. So Laura Elliott is the author. What was her job? She wrote the words. And Lynn Munsinger is the illustrator. So her job was to... That's right, illustrators draw pictures. Authors write words, illustrators draw pictures. Hunter's Best Friend at School. Hunter and Stripe were best friends. They liked all the same things. Hunter liked to wear striped sweaters. So did Stripe. Hunter loved to somersault. Stripe did too. Hunter's favorite story was Goldilocks and the Three Raccoons. So was Stripe's. They even liked the same lunch, a crawfish sandwich, huckleberries, and milk. So I can see that we have the same two characters so far. Our main character is going to be Hunter. We know Hunter is the main character because Hunter is not only on every page and in every picture so far, but it's in a lot of the sentences. We've heard his name a lot. And it's in the title, the name of the book, Hunter's Best Friend at School. So this is Hunter. I can tell because he has a H on his sweater. This one must be his friend named Stripe. They like a lot of the same things. A lot of the time, best friends do like the same things, but it's okay if they're different too. At school, Hunter and Stripe did everything together. On the playground, Stripe pushed Hunter on the swings. Then Hunter pushed Stripe. When Stripe tried a cartwheel, Hunter did too. They drove the pretend school bus and sang, "The wheels on the bus go round and round." And most days, they'd end recess by chasing Luna around the jungle gym. She could run faster than either of them. One day, Stripe came to school in a mischief-making mood. Do you know what the word mischief means? Trouble. At circle time, he kept squirming and poking Hunter. Their teacher, Mr. Ringtail, was reading a very interesting book about ladybugs, but Hunter hardly heard any of it. Why did Hunter not get to hear very much of the interesting book? Because Stripe was squirming and poking Hunter. He was taking Hunter's attention away from the book. See how the other kids are looking at Mr. Ringtail? That helps them pay attention. It helps them focus. It helps them listen to the book. When Stripe pokes Hunter, it takes Hunter's attention away. That wasn't very nice of Stripe. He's not being a very good friend. Hunter hardly heard any of the book about ladybugs. During snack, Stripe stuck out his tongue. At first, it seemed funny, so Hunter did too. But the other raccoon children didn't like seeing Stripe's half-eaten grasshopper. "Yuck!" Luna squealed. "Mr. Ringtail, Hunter and Stripe are making me sick." Were they making good choices? "Hunter, Stripe," said Mr. Ringtail, "you two can't sit next to each other if you're going to do that." And he made them sit apart. Hunter was sad. Sometimes, if we can't make good choices next to our friends, then we can't sit next to them. In art, the class made paper frogs. Hunter loved to paint and color, but cutting with scissors along a line was hard for him. He snipped carefully, especially around the webbed feet. Oh, I like how I see him. He's got his thumb up. When we use scissors, our thumb goes in the top hole. Always, always, you put your thumb in the top hole and your thumb comes up towards you. I like how his elbow is close to his ribs. That's another thing we work on in kindergarten with scissors. We keep our thumb up, we keep our elbow close to our ribs, and I like how I see him sitting at his table. He's working at the table. That's good, Hunter. Thumb up, elbow close. I bet when he had to turn the paper to go around the webbed feet, he did it slowly and carefully and turn the paper, not the scissors. That's another thing we work on with scissors in kindergarten. So he's working carefully. When he was almost done, he heard Stripe laughing. Hunter looked over at him. Stripe was hopping up and down and cutting his frog into shreds. He threw the little pieces of paper up into the air so they fell in a shower over him, and all the raccoons at Stripe's table were giggling. What kind of choice is Stripe making? He's not making good choices. This is a good choice, working carefully, following the directions and doing your best. This is not a good choice. It doesn't look like Stripe is ready to use scissors. Whoopee! Look at me, Hunter, Stripe called. This is fun. Come on, Hunter. Hunter gazed proudly at his frog. He really wanted to finish it and color in big googly eyes and paste on a long tongue. His mom would love it. She'd tape it on his closet door. Come on, Hunter, Stripe yelled again. Oh, so what does Stripe want Hunter to do? Stripe wants Hunter to chop up his frog and throw it all over the place just like Stripe was doing at the table. He wants Hunter to make the same choices he did. Are those good choices? No, they're not good choices. Stripe is not being a good friend by asking Hunter to make bad choices. Let's find out what Hunter decides to do. We know he likes his frog. We know he wants his mom to love his frog and be proud of him. Let's find out what he does. Hunter started dancing. He chopped up his frog and shouted, "Whoopee!" But when his frog lay all over the floor in scraps, Hunter felt awful. His beautiful frog was ruined, and one big tear ran down his snout. Not only did he make bad choices by deciding to do what Stripe was doing, he also was acting dangerously. It is not safe to get up out of your chair with your scissors. Hunter, asked Mr. Ringtail, was this your best work? Hunter looked down at his feet. No, he said. Mr. Ringtail thought a moment. Then he said, let's pick up the pieces and put them in your backpack. The rest of the day was terrible. Stripe acted mad at Hunter, and Luna didn't want to be chased on the playground. When Hunter got home, he tried to sneak his backpack into his bedroom. Why do you think he was trying to sneak his backpack away? When we sneak something, it means that we don't want adults to see. What is it that he doesn't want his mom to see? So when he tried to sneak his backpack into his bedroom, his mom saw him as he reached the stairs. Let's see what you've brought home today, she said. Hunter handed her his pack. What's this? She asked as all the scraps of paper fell to the floor. Hunter told his mom about Stripe and about chopping up his frog. He left out the part about the half-eaten grasshopper and sticking out his tongue. Why do you think he left that out? I think he's ashamed. He feels bad about his choices. He knows they were not the good choices he could have been making. She says, I understand the problem, Hunter. You like going along with your friend, right? Hunter nodded. We do everything together. But you need to do what your teacher asks, right? Hunter nodded again. Do you feel good about chopping up your frog? No, Hunter said sadly. His mom hugged him. You know what? I bet Stripe doesn't feel good about acting so silly either. Being a best friend doesn't mean always following along. Sometimes being a best friend means you have to help your friend be his best self. So part of being a friend is helping your friends make good choices. You can do that by being a good example. When they're doing something that they should not do, that you know is not a good choice, you can shake your head at them to say no. You don't have to use your voice. You can just shake your head at them. No. And they'll know that you do not want to be making that bad choice and that you're not going to do it. And they might decide to stop and make better choices. Or if they're trying to talk to you when your teacher's reading a book, you can put up your quiet finger in front of your mouth. You don't have to make noise and say, shh. You just need to do the quiet finger at them. And when you put your quiet finger up next to your mouth, you don't touch your mouth because that's germy. You just put it up next to your mouth and you can kind of give them the signal that says, shh. And they might see that and see that you're making good choices, and maybe they'll decide to make choices that are good too. You can help your friends be their very best selves. The next day, Hunter worried all the way to school. What if Stripe acted up again? At circle time, Stripe lay flat on the floor and rolled back and forth as Mr. Ringtail read a book about turtles. Hunter thought about copying his friend, but he knew he really didn't want to. When our teacher is reading to us, we need to sit on our bottoms and look up at the book. We do not roll around on the floor. Stripe is once again making bad choices. Hunter thought about making them with him and then decided no, he didn't want to do that. So Hunter frowned at Stripe. He tried to make his eyebrows go up and his mouth go down, like his grandfather sometimes did to make him be quiet at the library. But Stripe just laughed. Then Stripe started tickling Hunter. Hunter turned purple trying not to giggle. He scooched out of Stripe's reach. He sat very, very still and listened to the story. Maybe Stripe would copy him, thought Hunter. Oh, Hunter is being a good friend. Hunter is trying to make the good choices really obvious. Make it easy for Stripe to see what the good choice would be, so that Stripe could copy him and make good choices too. After a minute, Stripe sat up too. Mr. Ringtail smiled. During snack, Stripe tried to toss his minnow fish across the room into Mr. Ringtail's coffee cup. One of them stuck on the window. Hunter ignored him, even when Stripe landed a fish on his head. I can make an M with my minnows, Hunter said to Luna. Stripe stopped to watch Hunter. Then he made an F for fish with his minnows before eating them carefully, one by one. So here we see Stripe making bad choices. He's throwing his minnows, his little fish snack, across the room. He wasn't making good choices. Hunter ignored him. Hunter would not look at him or give him any attention for what he was doing. Sometimes when we see a friend making a bad choice, we ignore them. We pretend we can't see them or hear them, and we focus on what we're supposed to be doing. And when Hunter ignored him, even though there was a fish that landed on his head, all of a sudden Stripe decided he would do the right thing, and he would make an M with his minnows. That's what Hunter decided to do. M, for minnow. And then Stripe decided not to throw them anymore, and he made an F on his plate with his minnows for fish. F for fish. So he started making good choices because he saw Hunter making good ones. While Mr. Ringtail set up finger painting, Stripe stuck his right paw in some blue paint and his left paw in some yellow paint. Then he crept up behind Luna. He whispered to Hunter that he was going to make 2 paw prints on Luna's perfectly clean dress. "Wait!" Hunter cried. "Look what I can do, Stripe." Hunter slapped his paws on the paper to mix the red and blue together, and they made purple. Why did Hunter decide not to ignore his friend this time? Yeah, if he had ignored Stripe this time, if he had pretended he couldn't see or hear Stripe when he was making these bad decisions, Luna would have ended up with paint on her dress. And so Hunter decided to say, "Wait," and to show him something different, to make a better choice. And he showed him how he could mix the red and blue. Red and blue make purple. "Cool," said Stripe. "What will mine make?" And he rubbed the blue and yellow from his paws onto his paper. "Green," they said together. "That's my favorite color," said Luna. And so everybody ended up happy. They got to find out what colors they made, and Luna ended up without any paint on her dress. I like how Hunter is helping Stripe make good choices instead of following and copying the bad choices. The rest of the day, Stripe was his very best self. He helped Mr. Ringtail clean up after Art. He led the hunt for Luna's lost bracelet and found it behind her cubby. He sat perfectly still next to Hunter as the music teacher taught them to sing. "This raccoon, he played one." Out in the playground, Stripe and Hunter ran and cartwheeled and somersaulted and chased Luna around and around, just like always. Luna even let Hunter catch her, just this once. When we make good choices, we can have great days. That afternoon, as Hunter and Stripe sat waiting for their moms on the school's front steps, Stripe reached over and he hugged Hunter. "Hunter," Stripe told him, "you're my best friend." I think Stripe really appreciates how hard Hunter worked to help him make good choices. That's what a good friend does. A good friend is a good example for their friends. And they don't copy bad choices. Instead, they model a good choice. They do what you're supposed to do to show their friends that that's cool too. Thank you so much for reading Hunter's Best Friend at School with me. Remember, you can make good choices. Even if you see a friend of yours making a choice that you know is not the right one, you can still do the right thing.